Hey, grace and peace, everybody. To read or not to read, that is the question. I'm showing y'all a little bit of what I do. A lot of people are confused. Some people I've been getting comments. Oh, y'all preachers or y'all pastors. I'm not a pastor. I used to be a pastor. I flip cribs, but I still teach and I'm involved in apologetics. I stand for the Christian worldview. So I want to explain some things as far as scholarship. I notice a lot of people don't understand. I was listening to the brother from GOCC kind of conversing. I won't even call it a debate, conversing with Mike Heiser, who has a PhD in Semitic languages, I believe it is. His degree is in. And there's things that he quote, even people that speak to me and would start dealing with comments and where you get your sources and what material you're reading. I know a lot of people are confused, so I want to kind of help people out. We have what's known as scholarly works or scholarly books, but they don't really sell. We have sensational books like the Da Vinci Code, which say it's a work of fiction, but I meet a lot of people and they get their knowledge of the Nicene Council from the Da Vinci Code. I deal with a lot of people in the conscious community, and I said I'm going to do some more videos with the conscious community. As a matter of fact, where we were getting with, I'm going to do a podcast with Sister Lisa Fields from the Jude 3 Project. My subscribers, y'all can check her out. Jude 3 Project, y'all have to get her on. She's doing a lot on Facebook and social media in general, as far as apologetics in the African American community, and Dr. Eric Mason. Pastor Mason Epiphany Church down in Philadelphia. They're doing a lot of things, and we're going to get together. I think we're gonna form a panel or something, and we're going to start doing a lot of we're going to do a lot on social media as far as apologetics and answering and explaining certain things. Because when I speak to people, brother said, I've done my research. So I said, well, what books have you read? And I think they don't understand certain things as far as people that's educated, PhD, and I know there's a lot of people that don't understand what's a degree, a earned degree. I had an argument with somebody about Dr. Ben. And I read a lot of books in the conscious community, Dr. Ben and Alvin Van Sertima, Naeem Akbar, everybody. I've been doing this for about 25 years now. And I've been a believer for a minute. And I'm going to kind of give my testimony on that Jude 3 interview with Sister Fields. But when we start dealing with scholarship, we have books that's written by scholars or PhDs that have studied in the field 12, 13, 15 years on a specific subject. This is how come I often bring up people like Dr. Omar Johnson. If child psychology or psychology is his thing, he can't stand up and speak to me as a theologian, as an Egyptologist, or a religious scholar. Why? Because he haven't written any articles in journals or somewhere that someone else with PhDs on his level can critique what he's saying. And I noticed a lot of people are confused about that. The brother said, well, I read the Jesus mysteries, I believe it was, is free. When you start dealing with freaking Gandhi and you start dealing with Acharya S, and you notice certain things in the conscious community, when you start dealing with Sarah Sutton Seti, when you start dealing with Dr. Ray Hagan, when you start dealing with Ashwa Kwesi, a lot of what they say come from certain sources. The movies of Geist, Peter Joseph and Acharya S, the majority of their footnotes, the majority of what they pulled, it comes from Kersey Graves' World 16 Crucified Saviors, Gerald Massey, The Book of Beginning, Ancient Egypt, Light of the World. And if you look among who's who in Egyptologists, Gerald Massey, first he came on the scene when Egyptology was very young. We've learned so much about it and the hieroglyphs and the Metu Netta since Gerald Massey in the 1800s. And the movies of Geist trying to equate Jesus and Horus and all of this stuff. It's madness coming from Acharya S. It's madness coming from the movies of Geist. And if you look at their footnotes are shaky because it's coming from Gerald Massey. And he was an amateur Egyptologist. This is why when you look at who's who in Egyptology today, they don't acknowledge him. It's it's crazy. It's crazy, but this is just what it is. So we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff, and we're gonna explain some stuff to you. Far as if you have an honorary degree, Bill Cosby, Oprah Winfrey, because they've done so much, you can receive an honorary degree from Howard University. But that don't mean you're on the level of somebody that have an earned degree. And Dr. Ben, if y'all get online, Dr. Ben, and I admire a lot of his work, but if you look at Dr. Ben's obituary, they said he had many honorary degrees. So some people would argue, where did he receive his earned degree from? And we're going to explain that. And it's not to shoot down anybody in the conscious community, but a lot of people don't understand when you're dealing with scholarship and you're dealing with PhDs in their specific field that write on a specific subject that has footnotes. I can get anybody to tell you, for God so loved the world, because the Bible say it, because somebody else, because T.D. Jakes and Joyce Meyer say it. But when you start saying you're approaching the historicity or anything dealing with the subject of religion on a academic level, that's a whole different story. And it seems like there's a lot of people that don't know the difference. Now, I quote a lot of books. When I quote books, it doesn't mean that that's recommended reading for my people, like, let's say, in Sunday seminary. Dr. Mason, we're going to get you on there on Sunday Seminary. It's not recommended reading. I noticed the brother from GOCC, he brought up the protocols of the elders of Zion. And before he spoke about the Illuminati, a lot of time these books are written for sensationalism. The protocols have been discounted maybe back in the days. Henry Ford was propagating that book against the European Jews, and Reader's Digest had something I remember far as back as 1980. I had some sources and stuff, and they were speaking against the book. But on the internet, there are certain books, the two Babylons, there's certain books, they're not scholarly works. A Chariot S, that's not considered a scholarly work. And now, because a lot of people don't know the difference, somebody would read a book by Gerald Massey, 16 Crucified Saviors. The Jesus story is the same as Krishna. And I asked him, well, who was Krishna's mother? How was Krishna born? And when you start asking and digging into it, they're just picking up stuff from a Chariot S, from Ray Hagen that they heard. And when you go back to try to pin down their sources is madness. Their sources happen to be Kersey Graves, World 16 Crucified Saviors. And like I told y'all in different videos, when it comes down to 16 Crucified Savior, Richard Carrier, who has a PhD in world history, he tell other atheists don't even use that on Christians because it's unreliable. But yet people tell me, oh, I read the Jesus mysteries. You have to understand. When you start dealing with freaking Gandhi and people that write books like that, those are not considered scholarly works. So scholars don't recognize that stuff. Jude 3, Berean TV, we're going to be on there. Epiphany Church, Dr. Eric Mason. I got another brother that I'm going to introduce y'all to. Heavy. We got some people, we got some students of the Bible. We got some students of the Bible. My brother, Dr. Aaron. I'm going to put y'all up on him. I like teasing him and his and Cecil and my his wife. Those are my partners with this Sunday seminary. We're going to start doing a lot more stuff, but we're going to explain some things to y'all. Sunday seminary coming up this week. It's going to be jumping. We're going to deal with primary sources, secondary sources. We're going to deal with Kemetic doctrine. How do we begin to answer these things? You've been watching Berean. If you like what you heard, subscribe. Thanks for watching.